Hello, friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Amazing how many of you organically found my channel looking for some of the cool topics I've been talking about recently, like my love of the movie Titanic, or videos on becoming a vampire, right? So these are things that obviously people are searching for, then finding me organically. So hopefully you like my content more and more, and we become a big YouTube channel, me and you together, okay? Let's be friends. So today I want to talk about this really crazy conspiracy again. And I don't like to use that word because I like to be more of disinfo police, but I don't want to go down that route because even those words are hard, scary to say with the big bad boogeyman who listens. But I want to talk about this monolith. Have you guys heard about this monolith mystery? I mean, this thing was popping up in like 2020, 2017. And people are thinking there's a conspiracy behind this monolith that just reemerged in Wales, which is prompting speculation of space aliens. I mean, the quote here is almost looks like a UFO just put it on the ground. Now, I don't know why people would think that anyone would put it there. In fact, I thought that monoliths grew from trees or grew from bushes. How do we know for a fact that this monolith just didn't grow out of the ground? Maybe Jack and the Beanstalk planted some seeds there and it grew. I'm serious. Why would you think there's any type of mystery surrounding? What do you think? That the government went there and put a monolith so that they could pretend that there's some type of alien thing going on so they could prepare you for something? That's crazy, okay? If anything, maybe aliens did put these monoliths there. I mean, I would think maybe even Elton John put one there so he could sit on it. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of ideas. There's lots of theories we could have about the monolith, but let me read what ABC News is telling us about this monolith. Then we'll get into it more. So a newly discovered 10-foot tall silver monolith on a muddy bluff in Wales has reignited wild speculation on its origins after similar obelisks appeared in Utah, California, England, and Romania. Does anyone know what an obelisk is? Oh, is that like the thing at the Washington Monument? It kind of looks like a wang, like a dallywagger, like a schlong. I don't know what the proper terminology is, to be careful here on the platform. Although I guess if I said really sick words, I would probably be promoted on here because there's a lot of sick content that's allowed, isn't there? So anyway, does anyone know what an obelisk even is? I think it's that thing with a pointy top. Like there's one in Washington, right? That big one in Washington. That's really cool. It's just there randomly. I think our forefathers were like, hey, let's build this huge thing that looks like a pencil or like a penis, and let's stick it right outside of the White House area, and we'll say, and nobody will be suspicious of it. Weren't these things in Egypt too? Yeah, and isn't the dimensions like in inches, 666,000 inches tall? That's cool. That's what I just looked up. I used the Google machine. It told me that 660 inches wide too. Inches, not feet, for anyone who's interested, right? So I guess it's just another one of these things popping up. The shining spear impaled in the ground near Hay on Wye in Wales was discovered this month by construction worker Craig Muir while he was out for his regular hike. Because Craig goes out for hikes in the middle of nowhere, especially on flat ground. Because it looks really flat. Aren't hikes, by definition, don't you have to kind of like go? I guess not. Well, can we just say that Craig went on a walk in a field? Now, do people normally, I mean, how did Craig get to the field? Is this his backyard? Did he take a car? He just found this huge open field and decided to walk in this huge open field. And then, conveniently, there's this massive monolith that randomly was placed here, and we weren't supposed to discover it, right? Craig wasn't supposed to discover this. This wasn't supposed to make the mainstream news, but it only makes the mainstream news if it's real, of course. Sorry, I make myself laugh sometimes. This stuff's so fake. I mean, it's so scripted, is it not? I mean, I want to know, how do you become a writer for the news? I want to be a script writer for the news because I can think of some crazy stuff. How do you become one? Everyone out there is trying to become like a screenwriter. I know people like, I want to be a screenwriter. I want to write movies for Hollywood, right? I'm under mind control. I think organicacally I can live the American dream. No, you can't. I personally want to get hired by ABC and just write some of this stuff to see what people will believe. Because they'll believe anything, Yeah, this is just randomly out there, and it wasn't supposed to be discovered by Craig. Craig was just hiking in the middle of nowhere and stumbled upon it. Then he got on his phone and he was like, hey, ABC, CBS, New York Post, New York Times, I found this big thing in the middle of the desert. Remember years ago they had one too? And it's like this giant mirror reflection thing. And they're like, oh, okay, can you send us pictures? We're going to cover it on the news today. Because that's how the news apparently works, people think. That you just see something, then you call the news, because the first thing you think of is like, hey, I found this, I'm going to call ABC. Or are we supposed to believe he saw this on his random hike in the middle of nowhere, and he put it on his Instagram account, and then, wow, ABC and CNN, they all happen to be checking this guy's Instagram account. Oh, did it go viral? Wink, wink. So then they wanted to cover it so they could talk about, ooh, it could be aliens. What is this mystery? What are, it's all in the script. So anyway, let's see. They explain now how this made the news, apparently. Mirror posted a video of the bizarre find on TikTok, saying, I come up here most days, and I've never seen this before. Almost looks like a UFO. Just put it on the ground. Or your government. Or it grew from the ground. Duh. That's the most obvious thing, is that this grew up from the ground, But he goes on to say that when he first discovered the object atop the roadless 2,221-foot Hay Bluff, he found no tire tracks or footprints around it that could explain a human connection. Well, apparently now he's a police officer. He's CSI because he was investigating the ground around it. I mean, they didn't deliberately put that in there to make it sound even more mysterious, right? He saw this thing and he's like, let me check for tire tracks. Okay, let me get out my microscope and see if what's on the ground here. I mean, would you even be able to find any type of tire tracks in this type? I mean, I guess, but still. Really? Really? Well, he couldn't find tire tracks out in the middle of nowhere, but how did you get out there, Craig? Huh? What did you teleport? That's a real conspiracy. So it goes on to say, since word of the anonymous monolith spread through Wales and England, tourists and new crews have flocked to the bluff to get a look. Mirror noted in a March 15th social media video that someone appeared to have hammered dents into what he said had initially been a polished silver facade. Like others that have, the whole story is a real facade. Like others that have been discovered, the monolith harkens in the plot of movie maker Stanley Kubrick's 1968 science fiction classic 2001: A Space Odyssey. Mirror described the statue as appearing to be made of steel, roughly 10 feet tall, by 1.5 feet wide and hollow inside. He also noted it appears quite hefty, adding to the riddle of how it got there. Oh, yeah. So he says, while some observers of the monolith chalked it up as an elaborate prank, others found that the extraterrestrial angle plausible. So, okay. Again, we've convinced people that aliens are real. But yeah, an elaborate prank, right? So somebody, what do you think this thing costs, right? Probably expensive, probably really heavy too. Somebody was like, hey, I want to pull a prank. Who are you pulling the prank on? Are you pulling the prank on Dave Muir or whatever his name is? Craig Muir? Okay, is that who you're pulling the prank on? You're like, hey, Craig goes for hikes over here all the time. He does? Every day, Craig hikes in the middle of this field that's in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to mess with Craig. Let's spend $50,000 on this giant mirror thing, and we're going to stick it out there. And they'll be like, well, what is, is there any correlation with Craig and a giant obelisk-like thing in the middle? No, there's no at all, but, we'll prank him. Like, you could maybe, like, in the middle of the field, you could have put, like, a giant picture of Craig doing something stupid, or Craig's wife or his ex-wife. I mean, no, they wanted to put this giant silver thing in the middle of the field, hoping that Craig would discover it, right? And put thousands of dollars into it. Then, shockingly, somehow it goes viral on TikTok and then all over the world, right? Because it's an elaborate prank. No, the only prank being pulled is the prank called the mainstream media over the eyes of the masses. So I got to be careful of the algo, but I don't really care right now. After posting his video on the Hey On We community notice board Facebook page, one person quipped, I quite like the monolith. Hope the aliens don't come and get to it soon. No one has claimed responsibility for placing the monolith on the bluff. The discovery was one of several that have occurred since 2016 around the world. In November 2020, one was found in Utah's remote Red Rock Desert. I remember a lot of people covering that on YouTube. I can't specifically remember any of the names of the people covering it because they're no longer around. One of them sounded a lot like this guy, but Okay, in November 2020, one was found in Utah's remote Red Rock, attracting spectators before a group of unidentified men removed it to parts unknown. Who was the Men in Black come? Huh? Who came and removed it? Yeah, it sounds like a theory. The conspiracy theory to me. I mean, look, the obvious answers here, okay, before I finish reading the article, are one, it grew out of the ground. That's my pick, okay? 2 would be aliens, but I'm actually starting to lean towards 3, a prank. I think it was that show Impractical Jokers. Is that what they're called? I think that they did this, and then they were like, Craig was their friend, and then he happened to stumble upon it. I don't really know what the punchline of the joke is. I guess they just wanted to creep him out and drop about 20 to 50 grand. What do you think this thing costs? How heavy was it to get it out there and assemble, right? And then, of course, it'll be mysteriously removed sooner or later. I mean, you think any rituals happen out there? If I was Craig when I found this, I'd be checking for little grave sites or big circles made of bones, maybe the blood of children. Excuse me, something in my throat. Okay, so let me just continue. An artist collective calling itself the Most Famous Artists claimed responsibility for planting the Utah monolith and a replica beam that appeared around the same time near California. The group, however, did not claim it was behind a monolith that appeared in Romania, whose origins remain unsolved. Oh, okay, it all makes perfect sense. A British designer claimed responsibility for a monolith that appeared on a beach in the Isle of Wight on the south coast of England in December 2020. Tom Dunford told the BBC he designed the piece purely for fun. Because that makes sense. There's no occultic background. It's for fun, okay? Someone did it for fun. They took the time. They had all the free time, all the money to do this. And then they stuck it out in the middle of nowhere where they were just like, I hope somebody comes and finds this. And then it makes the mainstream news, right? I just randomly put it out in the middle of a field. There's no witchcraft involved. There's no sorcery involved. None of that. I'm just hoping someone finds it and then the mainstream media reports on it so everybody thinks it's aliens and everything else, right? I mean, does anybody out there think anymore? Oh, right. They don't. So what do you think about this monolith? Can you tell me what you think about it? I don't know why I'm saying it like that. What do you think about the monolith mystery that's re-emerging over and over again? Do you think it grew from the ground? Do you have a theory? Do you think maybe it grew from the ground because of all the chemicals, the water vapor that comes out of the plains? Maybe all that water vapor came down, landed on the ground, and then this grew up, Because, it looks like it could be made of aluminum and barium anyway, so maybe that's how it got there, That's a good theory. What do you guys think, okay? And also, do you think it's cool? Would you pose with it? If you were out there, would you take a picture? What if your friend pulled this type of a prank on you? How would you respond to it? How would you get them back? It is all cool stuff for the algo. So anyway, folks, I wanted to cover this for everybody out there. You guys are great. You've been a great audience. Again, be sure to tip your waitress. I'll be here all week. Thanks again, everybody. Bye.